I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass.
Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast. Join us as we discuss various topics meant to challenge your current ways of thinking. We have a dope episode for you tonight, but before we do, let's introduce the crew. Let's get started with KJ.
Yo.
AJ. Cordell.
What up?
And I'm T-Dub.
Yes, sir.
So tonight we're going to be talking about anger, conflict, and faith. Right? Interesting concepts, right? When we talk about faith, we kind of get into this space of being devout, being believers, being saved. But what happens when the flesh or the human component starts to get involved? Let's tap into that because we're all emotional, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Even as men, we all have these things that pop up, right? Pride, ego, all of that stuff. And the easiest way for it to present itself, especially from the masculine, is typically in anger, right? So let's jump in. Let's talk about it. Anger, conflict, and faith.
Skating on thin ice, but
right.
It's tough. I think it's tough. I think the big thing about it is anger is going to happen. You're gonna get mad. Something's gonna make you mad. Something's gonna throw you off your game. Something's gonna upset you or agitate you or frustrate you. That's just the reality of it. But the Bible tells us that we can be angry but sin not. So just because I'm mad doesn't necessarily mean that I have to act out of my aggression or I have to act out of character. I actually recently had a conversation with one of my cousins where I felt like he was coming at me sideways. And like a part of me wanted to be like, oh yeah, I do X, Y, and Z and justify myself so I would feel better and like, oh yeah, nobody's doing this, like start slandering people. And then like, I really took a second to think. I like text messaging because it gives me a break when I need a break because I can read it and then just not respond. I can read it, write my response, then edit it and go, nah, this is
downside to text is text has no tone.
Yes,
right.
They're very true.
I was gonna go with it.
Very true. That is a part, but that's why I'm like, all right, let me get my wording right. Because if I get my wording right, I should be good. But you have to word it very well. And the person has to know you. It is risky.
I say it's risky too because when I'm angry, I read it totally different.
Yeah, you're receiving. You're implying a tone on what you're reading as well.
Yep.
And they're implying a tone. You ever seen? There's a skit by Key and Peele. On YouTube where they talk about and he's getting mad like what'd you say, and the other dude's like, hey, whatever time you say, like whatever time I say, like and it's like it's just showing how much they implied for the receiver as well as the sender,
right.
text wise.
So that's probably what happened. I feel like that's what happened on his side, but that could be me, and I'm like, all right, but I tried to give. I'm reading it in my voice though, and in my tone. So that's probably part of the issue as well. But I'm like, all right. So like, let's talk this through. Let's establish this is it. Really, what the problem was, essentially what he said was he thought I was lying, and that's what agitated me because I'm like, why would I lie? For what? I don't need to lie. And basically coming at it from that point of view, and that's the part where we was kind of butting heads. But I'm like, all right, listen, I don't need to, I don't want to. If we want to have a conversation, good, bad, or indifferent, we can have it. However, let's do it in respect. Like, just be respectful of each other. Let's be respectful of each other's time and stuff like that. Plus, it was in a group chat, so I'm like,
yeah, that's crazy in the group chat.
Oh man, how about you?
When it comes to anger, conflict, and faith, it's one of those things where when you're in a community, conflict is inevitable. It's going to happen.
Right.
And with that comes anger, right? I try to control myself sometimes, but then you realize there are certain things that can make you snap.
Yeah.
It can make you snap, right? Say something to my wife, I might forget about my faith.
Ain't no might.
Yeah, I might forget about my faith. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that, you know, it's like let's be real, like, and it can happen in church. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that we got to be real about. So yeah, and but also there is we seen Jesus get angry.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So there's a right way about doing things too,
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, when I think about anger, I think about reaction and responding.
Yeah.
Right. When I think about reaction, I think it comes from a space of emotion. Right. Like you said, somebody says something to you about your wife. In that moment, it could be a reaction versus responding. Right. So it's the balance between the emotional response and the logical response. You know what I mean? Could there be a valid reason why they're saying something to your wife? Mm-hmm. Like, your wife isn't perfect. Like, she could have done something that warranted that, right? But you're not aware, and they're bringing it to your attention in that emotional space, right? So there's that space of logic versus emotion, right? And the brain can't handle both of those things at one time. You know what I mean? So there always has to come that balance. And when it comes to anger as well, you know, we all have it in us, and we all express it in a different way. But I think that, much like walking, it's a learned skill.
Yes.
How you use it and how you react to it. You know what I'm saying? So if we know that you have a temper, there's things that you can do to temper that. You know what I'm saying? If you know that that's a space where you need further development, if you kind of focus the lens on that and understand, well, what sort of things trigger me, right? Like for you said, it's my wife. Somebody says something crazy to me about my wife or my lady, we can all go all the way left, right? But we also have to think, hey, is there a valid point here, right? Are they coming to me respectfully,
right?
Or are they talking to me crazy, right? There's a lot of context that goes into that, right? But there could also be that snap, right? What is your mood? What's going on with you? Are you having a bad day? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all these pieces of context that have to be played and evaluated within that space, right? So anger is difficult, and anger gets a lot of us in trouble.
Yes.
Right? When we're not able to control our anger, right?
Very
like
true.
We're all black men here. Let's keep it a being, right? So there are a lot of times where ego and pride come into this space of anger as well, and it leads us down to a negative space, right? So when we're thinking and we're evaluating, we're doing the work on ourselves to better ourselves. How does our anger present, and what can we do to have a better grasp or control of that, right? That's like mastery of self, like being able to evaluate for yourself, where are my deficits? There are those that choose to only focus on the things that they do good in their lives, right? But it leaves us at such a negative space, right? If I only concentrated on how to walk well, I may never run. You know what I'm saying? I may never jump. I may never do any of these other things because I'm just so focused on doing the thing that I do well, right? But if we have the time to develop, right, which learning is a lifelong thing, and we start to cast light on the things that we don't do well, right, then we can improve, right? I have a problem with anger. All right, I acknowledge that. Now what do I do about it? Right. So let's not like leave things in the dark and in the shadows that we know we struggle with, right? Let's improve. Let's focus some light and some time and energy on that so we can bring that up. So now we can say, hey, you know what? I used to have a problem with anger.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that can also be a space where we can start to deal with our faith, right? But as you said, right, we've seen Jesus get angry, right? There was a time and a place for all of that, right? And Jesus was the embodiment of, he was in the flesh at the time, right? So he had all the emotions. He's the model, right? Like we all want to be close to Jesus, right? We want to follow the model that he gave us, right? So there's a time and a place for everything. Your thoughts, bro?
I think when I go through the whole thing, I think like of like the sliding scale of emotions, and like me getting from being even killed to being full blown angry, and like I'm fine with communication, I'm fine with discussions, I'm fine with disagreements. I'm not fine with disrespect.
Right.
So
Yes.
So for me, I don't really like I don't like arguing.
Me neither. I get you.
And the reason I don't, and I think I think me not liking arguing has a lot to do with me just trying to grow in my faith journey. Because now in my head, I'm like, okay, like we're going somewhere where like I don't feel like my faith resides. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like my faith is fine. Like we can disagree and agree to disagree.
Right.
We can like, you know what I mean? Like we're not supposed to all share the same opinion, and we can have whatever amicable differences. And I'm not saying it has to be amicable. It could be nasty, but like not go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to smile at me because like while we're disagreeing for me to be able to stomach what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like that's cool. I'm grown. I could deal with that. But my biggest thing is like, some people, no disrespect to those that may have this as one of their traits. Some people like arguing.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
And I don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like if we're over there, like let's see what's happening over there. Like let's explore everything on that side if we're willing to take it there. Like I don't like people that like to like, oh, why argued? And then like, you know, you say something cutting back and then they're like, oh, I smacked you. And you're like, well, I punched you. Like, you know what I mean? Like now we're all like we're going further and further down this road we didn't have to go into. You know what I mean? And I'm not advocating for any of that. And honestly, like what came to my mind while we were talking when you said the word community, just like with a lot of our topics being faith based and of sort, I was like, I think that's why there's so much gossip in the church.
Of course.
Because people are trying to avoid the confrontation. Ooh. Because if there's confrontation, I don't think people know how to deal with the fact that should be the ceiling of it. So I think people avoid interacting and talk about each other instead of talking to each other.
Right.
Because they're like, okay, well, if I argue, that's like I feel like a lot more people in like are on their faith journey.
Yep.
But the way they conduct themselves when angry, they wouldn't want their faith community to see.
To be exposed to that.
So they're like, yo, you know what? I'm not even, because like at the end of the day, if everybody was fine with just like constructively disagreeing,
right,
there'd be a lot more arguments at those meetings.
Yeah.
Like if it was healthy. But they're like, yo, I know me when I turn up.
Right.
Let me not bring it there.
Yo, so let's take a detour, right? Let's jump into faith versus conflict.
Yep.
Right. So you're saying that like you're living in a faith, so you're on a faith walk, right? And you're not always at the highest level. I'm not 100% on my faith walk, right? I'm somewhere around the 50th percentile, right? Like I've grown from where I used to be, right? But I still got a lot of space to go, right?
From the south side of heaven.
Talk to me.
South side of heaven. Wow.
Talk to me.
No, but right, like, and there's waxing and waning, right?
Yeah.
Like there's times where I feel like I'm like, yo, I'm getting there. Like I'm at a 70, I'm at 80, like I'm reading and I'm studying. And then I have these moments where Cordell says something sideways to me, right? I don't know what Cordell is going through. I don't know what AJ is going through, but they say something that just pricks my spirit, right? So like I'm living in faith and I feel like I'm getting there, but then I have this experience that takes me back down to my 30th percentile because it brings me back to my flesh and it brings me back to where I've come from, right? If somebody talked to me like that back in the day, this is how I would have handled that, right? And then we go back, right? Is that like a loss in faith? Is that just a human emotion? And how do we handle that in those moments, right? Because we've done such a large amount of work to build our faith and to get away from the way that we used to be, right? To improve and to get better, which is a lifelong process. We're never really there, you know, in my opinion anyway, right? So what happens when, I don't want to use the term backslide because I don't think that's really what this is. But when we have those experiences, right? When it's like a speed bump doesn't stop us from traveling, but it slows us down, right? So when we have those speed bumps in life where it reminds me that I have to slow down and really think about how I'm maneuvering and how I'm communicating with people during a conflict.
I think
where does our faith tap in in those moments?
I think no one gives grace to their adversary subconsciously. So it's like you know how you just said, like in hindsight, that sounds amazing. In the moment though, because what you said was, you was like, if Cordell says something to me, am I considering what he's going through that's making him say that?
Right.
Or am I thinking about what he said and I'm responding back at the level that he responded?
Right.
Because now he's like, now if he takes it to level 2, But what he said, I'm not thinking, dang, what brought you to level 2, bro?
Yeah.
I'm just responding at level 2, so now I'm going to 3. And now when I go to 3, he's like, well, what kind of Christian are you to take it to 3? That's out of pocket. Like, why'd you take it further than? Because, like, I hate to say it, but a lot of people, like, they're like, yo, where I took it is where I want to go. I don't necessarily want to take it further. Yeah. So if you take it further, why'd you go so far? Now you're overreacting. Right. Like, your reaction was supposed to match mine. You know what I mean? Yeah. At maximum. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Right. So I feel like there's a lot of that happening when people are like, but I mean, if you want to, I would say don't be hard on yourself.
So what I would say is, I don't think it's a negative towards your faith journey when you're tried.
1 second, bro. 1 second. I got you.
Yeah.
When I say don't be so hard on yourself, I meant don't compare the situation in a vacuum. Compare how you behaved in this situation in comparison to the next time you're in a situation. So that way you're gauging your growth on that. That's good. Right. I don't think it should be a full-blown backslide. Nah, you shunned out of heaven type of vibe because you cussed somebody out that cussed you out and you responded back negatively. But I think more or less you should just be like, okay, like, anger is going to happen to you guys' point from the first question. Yeah. But like, okay, now I'm learning how to be able to be who I am, this version of me, while getting pissed off. Yes. Like, I think it should get better every time.
Yeah. Correct. And I think those moments, like when you say that, it really resonated with me because it's like, I think it's those moments where you have that conviction in yourself to say, hey, this is an opportunity where I can improve and where I can get better. Had I not responded in that way or had that interaction, like, I don't know that that's a deficit of where I can get better. You know what I mean? So I like where you said, you know, it's not like completely falling back, but it's like the conviction that you have to actually do the work. Right, because this walk it's difficult and there's suffering in it, and there's so much that comes along with having a Christian walk and believing. Everybody wants this, like, oh, I got saved and now everything is great, but that's just not the way it really is. That's not how it's been for me. There's trials, there's tribulations, there's struggle, right? So when you have those moments of struggle, if you have that conviction to say, you know what? I took it all the way left when I responded to Cordell. I don't even have to say anything to Cordell about how I'm feeling, but the fact that I'm feeling something means that I'm on the right path. Right. You know what I'm saying? Correct. Because the fact that I feel something, I'm like, you know what? I never want to do that again. Whether I'm man enough to have a conversation with Cordell and say, yo, my bad, I was out of pocket, I shouldn't have done that. But the fact that I'm saying it to myself.
And it starts with the feeling. Right. But then next time, maybe you grow to the point that you actually confront it. And then you apologize and you see that you're getting better and you're growing.
Right. That's dope. I like that.
You good.
I like that.
You guys flush it out. So, the Bible says God chastises who he loves. So just the fact that you feel that, yo, I'm off. Like, that was wrong. That was too far. Like, that's chastisement. That's God saying, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. And then when you feel that and then you start to adhere to it, that's growth. Like, not to say that people, like, let's be honest. We all go to church. People get into arguments at church. People say little stuff at church towards somebody else, or they, whoa, I didn't do, you know what I'm saying? Like, they throw somebody else under the bus. This happens. However, we don't have to do these things, and the goal should be to improve. So, like, all right, somebody sneaks diss you in church, or you feel they did it, because sometimes it's not intentional. Sometimes somebody just said something and it just brushed up against what you have in yourself that hurts.
Yeah, sometimes their jokes run into your triggers head on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, sometimes it was not intentional. It just so happened to fit. And when it fit, you felt some type of way.
Now the shoes on and you want to kick them with it.
Exactly. It's on and popping. But like, realizing, as T-Dub was saying, realizing that you have a trigger is important. Because at some point you're going to have to teach your children this. Yeah. At some point you're going to have to teach maybe your siblings. Right. Yeah. Somebody is going to come up to you who's going to have the same exact trigger, and it's going to be by something that you said. God usually flips stuff just so he can see both sides of it. Like, all right, you might be the one that's triggered today, but tomorrow you might be the one that triggers. You know what I'm saying? So, like, learning how to deal with these situations will help you when maneuvering. And you know what? I did say that. I didn't know that was gonna bother you. My bad. Like, and it's tough because like a lot of people don't like to apologize. Like, you know what? That's my bad. Or you can meet them where they're at. Oh, well, yeah, no, you was talking crazy, this and the other. I'm not trying to go there. I think anything that is less destructive than where you would have taken it is a win. If you usually smack somebody who disrespects you and you just cussed them out, that was a win. It's not the win you want, but you didn't go as far as you normally would take it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you usually cuss somebody out and today you were like, you know what? I'm just going to walk away. You're still mad. You still got it in you. And you just say, you know what? I'm not going to do this with you. Like, that's a win. Like, if you normally say, you know what? I apologize. I was out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? The next time you can kind of see, you know what? This is going left. Do you want to take a break? Can we have this conversation later? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, this is growth. Like, understanding and then being able to look at somebody and say, you know what? I see that you're agitated, because a lot of times you can see when somebody getting hot.
Yeah.
Like, people just look at the red flag and go, all right, I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, just learning these little nuances will help you along your walk. And it's not something that you learn overnight. Like, there's going to be some time. Listen, I did a bunch of stuff after I claimed I was saved. I still got mad. I still, you know what? You're talking crazy. Like, I did a bunch of stuff, but each time you do it, and each time God convicts you, you get another opportunity to say, you know what? I don't have to be like this.
That's dope. I like that. See, I got a question for you. So from your perspective, can you tell us your thoughts on what tools can we utilize in our faith walk to help to like de-escalate conflict? Right? Because I know you've been to seminars and I know you read a lot and I know you've had a lot of like experience, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know that you've personally been in situations and in places where you've had to, you know, utilize different tools in different spaces, you know, in your life. So what are some tools, you know, either where you are or that you've heard of or that we can use to de-escalate conflict from a spiritual or a faith-based perspective?
So it's always the same answers when it comes to the spiritual thing. And the number one thing when it comes to the flesh is the tool, I would say, is fasting. Right?
That keeps coming up.
Yeah, it's fasting.
I gotta get back
because
to
what goes with that is, you know, reading the word and, you know, all that in prayer. Mm-hmm. All those things are always gonna be the tools for anything when it comes to our spiritual walk. But it made me think about when we're talking about anger, there is a such thing as righteous anger.
Okay.
Right? God gets angry at
Yes.
sin. We should get angry at sin. Right? When people do mass shootings and things like that, we get angry at that. When kids get hurt, we get angry at that. When people are mistreated at church, bullied, we get angry at these things. So it is okay. Those things that's considered righteous anger. But how we handle them is, but at the end of the day, I mean, God got wrath too.
Right. I just want to emphasize, we get mad at the sin, the action, and not the person.
I'm mad at people too. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not.
That's
So
a
that's-
difficult distinction.
Yeah.
Like what you're bringing up is tough to do, right?
It
Like
is.
when I'm angry, I'm not angry at a thing. I'm usually angry at the person.
I'm angry at the person.
You know
Let's
what I
be
mean?
honest.
That's a higher level of thinking, and even to be able to do that. And thank you for bringing that part up,
no
right?
worries.
Because there are times where, you know, you need to be able to do that, but that's a skill into itself.
It
even
is.
just to be aware enough to be like, listen, I'm going to speak to the action, not to the individual.
Correct.
But man, that's a higher level of thinking, right? What happens when we're not there yet?
I was about to say, so practical application, like, because I hate to say it, but I'm gonna remove sin from it, right?
Yep.
Right.
Because if you've learned that tool, do you get mad at things people say and not the person?
So the thing about it is I get mad depending on how people use it. I understand the difference between somebody who just curses and somebody who's cursing me out. You know what I'm saying?
that's
The
fair.
intention behind the two. So if you just come out, you're just swearing this, that, and the other because that's how you talk, I'm not offended. Doesn't bother me. Okay. If you come out and you're like, oh yeah, you, F you, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 like you talking all rowdy, you know what I'm saying? Now I feel offended.
Let me give you a better example.
Yep.
So let's say your wife, or you have a brother, right?
Yep.
Okay, your wife or your brother. So that's not specific to either. Right. If they're berating you, are you mad at what they're saying or are you mad at them?
So in the moment, I'm probably mad at them. I'll just be honest.
No, that's what I was asking.
I'll just be honest. But in the moment, I'm gonna be mad at them, depending on what they're saying. What I'm gonna try to do, being the key word, is I'm going to try to see, one, is there any truth to what they're saying? Like, am I mad because they're calling me out on something?
Yeah.
Or am I mad because they're just like berating me? They're just attacking me.
Shout out to you. Like, I forgot what scripture it is, but that scripture about being slow to anger. You sound like you lived that.
I try.
I
try. It's
I'm just saying because
Right.
like that's a lot of evaluation
It is.
in the moment.
Yeah, that's like-
that. Like I'm like, yo, I need
elevated way
to
of
slow
thinking.
down.
I try.
Like
Listen.
talking to me in an escalated pitch with choice words.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm dissecting what you. I might pick up what you putting down
Yeah.
and throw it at you.
Nah, for real.
No, I
Listen,
get
it is. I had anger issues growing up. So when I first got saved, it was something that I battled with because I get angry and then like my whole body shakes. Like I'm mad.
Yeah.
Like I want to fight you. Like, and I don't care who you are. Like I want to fight. Like so, because I understood that. Like there was little things that I learned over the years to do that I basically tried to put in between me and my anger. It's like, all right, I got to put stopping points. I got to know, like, for instance, Cordell brought up people talking about his wife. My thing about it was before I was married, my thing was just talking about my family in general. I'll fight you just off of the strength of that. Like you can't talk crazy about them around me type of stuff. But I understood that was a trigger for me. And what happens is some people manipulate triggers to get the response that they want. So my half brother, rest in peace, he used to do that. So he would specifically, if he wanted something, normally he wanted to fight. So he just likes to fight. So, but he was bigger than me, he was stronger than me. I'm going to lose the fight. So what he would do is he would try to get me to fight him each time. So after a while, he would talk about me because that's the trigger. After a while, I started recognizing, all right, he's just going to say whatever he wants just to get a rise out of me. So I'm going to stop paying attention to what he says when he goes left. So what he would do is he start talking about family. So now, you can't talk about so-and-so like that. You can't talk about my mom's like that. You can't talk about that. Like, realistically, what I realize is that people are going to do whatever they want to do regardless of how you feel. You can't stop them from doing it. You can pray about it, but people are still going to, people have their choice. They have an option to do whatever they want.
Good question for
Just because I can't stop you doesn't necessarily mean I can't stop my reaction. So I gotta be prayed up and I gotta be ready to like, all right, cool. I've gotten to the point now where I understand the difference between are you talking out of your truth or are you talking out of pain? Because that's another thing. Some people like who are hurt, they just lash out at people because they're hurt. 100%. It has nothing to do with the person. They're just, I'm talking from where
Survival.
Exactly.
Protection.
Right. And then other people, they talk because that's how I feel. And like that's a whole nother mindset. So now instead of me trying to understand, like, all right, I need to be mindful of this area because this is a pain point and we need to work through this. Oh, this person's just bad for me. This person just doesn't want what God wants for me type of stuff. And that's two different types of people. So you have to kind of, as you grow, you'll start to see the differences between the two.
Yeah, I think all of that is valid. But sometimes you ain't got time to process that. And that's where I would push back, right? Because it's like, okay, you come in a situation at a store, you don't know this person.
Right.
You don't know all of that stuff you said is out of the window. I don't
backstory.
know that. You know what I mean? So it's like it's back to you again. You know what I mean? It's like it's on you and not them. You know what I'm saying?
For me, say I walk into a grocery store, some random person starts cussing me out. I don't know you. I don't have enough skin in the game for me to care.
Yeah. Because
like I'm gonna walk in, you gonna cuss me out. All right, cool. I'm gonna leave. Like, unless I work there. It was harder when I did customer service. When I did customer service, like I have to stand there. I got to stand there, and then if you gonna let me have it, you just let me have it. And the thing about me is I can hear it, and I can say the right things, but my face is my problem.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna see what I want to say on my face. So that's why I stopped doing customer service in person. So
Yeah, that's dope. I really enjoy this conversation, fellas. I think there was a lot of value that came from it. The react and respond, the higher order thinking, being prayed up, the fasting, like the things and the tools that we utilize to fill us, right? Because somebody said this to me. I forget which pastor it was who said this. Is like, what's in you is going to come out of you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you fill yourself with righteousness, if you fill yourself with the word, you fill yourself with prayer, you fill yourself with fasting, in those moments, what's going to come out of you is the things that are in you, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are the tools that we want to rely on and lean on in those times, right? And I believe that the more we fill ourselves with those things, the easier it becomes to have those things pour out of us, right? But if I'm just going to church on Sunday, right, and I get a reaction on Friday, I don't have enough in me to prevent me from coming out the way I'm used to coming out, because I have X amount of years of responding in a certain way, right? So I was told in service one day by a pastor, sometimes you have to force feed yourself the word, right? You have to gorge yourself on the positivity so that you're so full of it that in those moments when you're tested, what comes out of you is what you
that
put
becomes
into
your response.
Yeah.
That becomes
That's
your
good.
response, man. So I value the conversation. I value your time. And as we always say on this in this podcast, keep building.
I'm working on the bill.